Shalom, and welcome again to another exciting edition of Torah Watchman Show. Hosted by none other than your humble, quality host,
Hakam Ya'ar ben-Emmett. The title of today's video is The Hall of Hewn Stones. In Hebrew, that means Lishkat haGazit, where the Sanhedrin met during the Second Temple period. That's 2,000 years ago, folks, was constructed using hewn stones, but the use of the hewn stones, believe it or not, was prohibited by the Lord our God in the construction of the temple itself by Moshe, or any type of altar that was erected by prophets of old and blessed memory as well. In the Torah, we find the black and white truth that carded Jews all over the world, my brethren, speaks very clearly and concisely in the book of Shemos or Exodus chapter 20-25. You can also find this commandment in Deuteronomy or Devarim in chapter 27, verses 5 through 6. Specifically prohibits the use of hewn stones, stones that have been cut or shaped by tools by human beings and not nature. That's what hewn means. And the construction of altar sacrifices going back all the way to Abraham. Now, YHWH instructs that if an altar is made of stone, it should be made of natural unworked stones. This prohibition is meant to prevent the altar from being defiled by human craftsmanship and to emphasize that the altar is a place of divine creation holiness. Why is this prohibition so clearly defined in the Torah? And why did God want to speak to Moshe as servant to make sure the Israelites knew about it? Listen, you know about King Herod the Great, right? Who had a hubris and narcissism, who built everything for his own glory, not the glory of God. You know, and if you hear about senior architects and things of this nature, they have many bragging points about their architectural design. God did not want anyone to brag about the foundational pieces of the temple. Now listen. Therefore, if the Hall of Hewn Stones itself was forbidden in the Torah and never utilized by King Solomon or prophesied by Ezekiel for the third temple that we are all waiting for, may the day of Mashiach come quickly, and Ezekiel's blueprints of the temple were meticulous and detailed and very comprehensive. The Sanhedrin council must have been forbidden in the Torah, absolutely, to be housed in the temple of God. Most of today's halakha was transcribed by rulings by the Sanhedrin, that legal court 2,000 years ago, that was housed inside King Herod the Great's second temple, the second temple that was there. Consider the Talmud tractate Sanhedrin that literally verbatim is reconstituted, reverse engineered most of the court agreements and rulings that were passed by law 2,000 years ago through debates and so on between the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Now you know, my friends, why King Herod the Great's fabulous temple was finally destroyed in 70 CE. Therefore, the Sanhedrin council that was housed in that temple was destroyed as well. And the Sanhedrin, as everyone knew for several hundred years, was no more. Now, rabbinates, Pharisees, whatever you call them back then, they tried repeatedly and failed miserably to try to restart the Sanhedrin over and over again. This is the result of synagogues all over the world in multiple countries with separate ruling dynasties per se, what rabbis see themselves as Nazis or grandulous leaders to set up their own halakha courts and so on. This topic and many other offenses form a familiar pattern by abusive behavior by past rabbinates to assume exclusive authority among themselves, not God, to add and to remove the laws of Moshe at will. May we all say Amen. This is Hakam ben-Emmett signing out until the next time. Shalom Aleichem.
If you've enjoyed this program, please click like and subscribe.